Good afternoon, everyone. A special welcome to our 2020 class of graduating Fordham student veterans and dependents. Welcome friends, family, and veteran supporters. Hopefully all tuning in on Facebook Live now. We are beyond proud of the graduating class for their academic achievements. So this marks our first virtual student veteran graduation recognition, bell ringing, and medallion ceremony. Thank you all for taking time out of this beautiful Saturday afternoon to show your support. I know it's pretty nice out today. Also, feel free to send a brief congrats to our graduates or say hello in the Zoom or Facebook chat windows. Our virtual program events can be found on our Facebook page, which can be found by typing in @RamVets in the Facebook search bar. Being that this is a virtual event, and I'm sure everyone is wearing their favorite weekend bottoms, feel free to stay seated throughout our event so as not to show off those SpongeBob underoos. But all jokes aside, I'm honored to introduce our very own university chaplain for staff, Father Shea, who will be giving our invocation.
And let us pray. O Lord of heaven and earth, physician of souls and bodies, we call on your name to shower blessings upon all gathered today. In your loving kindness, strengthen us and our world and nation as we battle an invisible enemy that wounds and takes away our loved ones. Heal the divisions among us and unite us together as a nation for the common good. We honor today at Fordham our veterans, their families and dependents from all branches of our armed services. They have completed a different type of mission than the missions they accomplished for our country. They have completed the mission of attaining educational proficiency and excellence in the varied schools here at Fordham. Lord, bless those who are here today to receive well-earned recognition as they accept their diplomas and begin yet a new mission in their lives. Bless their family and friends. Lord, bless and protect also all those who now work in the service of our country here and around the world, making our world safe for future generations. Lord, bless us. Keep us safe in the palm of your hand and ever be at our side now and forever. Amen.
Thank you, Father Shea. Welcome, everyone, to Fordham University's annual tradition of the Medallion and Bell Ringing Ceremony to celebrate our service members, veterans, and dependent graduates. I'm Matt Butler, Director of Military and Veteran Services. We are grateful to be joined by Father Joseph McShane, President of Fordham University, and Jared Lyon, President and CEO of Student Veterans of America. We will hear from both of them shortly. I want to make a special thanks to our friends and family who are joining us today on Facebook Live and on Zoom, and welcome the graduating class of 2020. In the 1986 movie Heartbreak Ridge, Gunny Highway, the character played by Clint Eastwood made the mantra improvise, adapt, and overcome synonymous with the winning spirit of the United States Marine Corps. This, however, is not a new concept. It is, in fact, the can-do spirit that every American fighting man and woman has inculcated since the Revolutionary War. Today is no different. Even with the technical difficulties, we have adapted, improvised, and overcome the circumstances we're all facing to celebrate a special victory for each of our graduates. We have a lot to be thankful for, perhaps more than ever. We want to thank our family members for their sacrifice and support they have given us both while in service, during our transition to civilian life, and during our pursuit in and outside of the classroom. I know that you will all I know that all the graduates would agree that we couldn't have done it without them. As we take a moment to remember those we have lost in battle, in training, and in the current pandemic, we remember them today as we celebrate them with our accomplishments and in their memories. I'm Matt Butler, and I'm the Director of Military and Veteran Services here at Fordham University. I recently heard another mantra that stuck with me. The mantra came from Dakota Meyer, another Marine, the Medal of Honor recipient, during a veterans hiring event on Facebook Live. He said to the veteran job seekers, "Build bridges, not bunkers." The metaphor for building bridges seems to be the right message for today and for the future. What do bridges do? At their essence, bridges helps us overcome obstacles. They connect people, places, and things. Like the George Washington Bridge, they are two-way streets. Bridges are critical for delivering goods and services, even air bridges that bring much-needed medical supplies. Bunkers are defensive positions, not meant to let people in that don't belong. And you often don't share your bunker with your enemies. Bunkers isolate and divide people. Bridges connect you, and you can meet in the middle of a bridge. Today's Zoom is the bridge that we use to connect with one another. It's the bridge of communication that we have used to overcome the obstacles that separate us. We can solve more problems, connect with more people, care for more people with bridges. We've been warned not to burn bridges, but never warned to burn bunkers. I'm not saying leave your house, for which we have used as bunker for this necessary defense of COVID-19, but I challenge you to build bridges with people in the world. Use your military training, your Jesuit education to find ways to build bridges. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. That is the formula for building metaphorical bridges that brings richness to our lives and those who follow our paths. It is my great pleasure to introduce Father Joseph McShane, the 32nd president of Fordham University. He is our spiritual leader, and he has guided Fordham through this challenging time. He is the greatest supporter of the military and the veterans community at Fordham and beyond. His orders to me shortly after I was hired was to love and take care of the veterans, something that I'm honored to do. Father McShane.
All right, good afternoon, all of you. At the outset, on your behalf, I want to thank Matt for organizing this celebration. I want to thank Stephen for getting us up and running on Facebook, and I want to thank Jared for agreeing to come and speak to us today. That's the first thing I want to say. Then I want to say a word of thanks, congratulations, and then a challenge. Thank you. I want to thank all of you, men and women who are veterans, who are graduating today. When you came to Fordham, you chose Fordham over other schools that may have appealed to you in some way. We at Fordham are deeply grateful. I am deeply grateful that you chose Fordham over all the others. You may wonder why I'm so grateful and grateful every day. Well, I'm grateful for a number of reasons. Number one, you bring into the classroom a steadiness of purpose. And that is something that really is observed by and inspires and impresses our traditional age undergraduate students. They find you to be, in some ways, mystifying, but in other ways, challenging in the best way. So thank you for bringing that steadiness of purpose. Second, you know how to balance things. All of you, it's not difficult going back to school, especially after a fulfilling career in the military, but you all did that. You came back and you balanced things so that you could get through. Third, I thank you because you've endowed us, all of us, with a sense of nobility, because you all are men and women who are noble. You've already shown your nobility in the service that you've given to the nation and to the world through your service in the military. So for all of those reasons, I thank you. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Next, congratulations. I want to congratulate you. This is graduation day for the class of 2020. A class that I want you to understand is a class that will always be very dear to the hearts of everyone who's associated with Fordham, and for two reasons. Number one, you're the class of 2020. Because you're the class of 2020, you are the visionary class, as 2020 Vision would tell you. And that has been a great resource for us, and it will be forever a resource for you. But you're the class of 2020, and you'll always be known as the visionary class. People who are people of vision and who bring vision to everything that they do. Second, you're not only the class of 2020 at Fordham, you're the 175th class to graduate from Fordham. Therefore, you're the Dodrin's bicentennial class. And that class will always live in the history of the university as a significant class because you're a class with a significant anniversary associated with you. And I hope you understand that. You should walk with even greater pride now than you did before, but also be forewarned. We will look to you to be what you've always been, men and women with a sense of responsibility. I want you to continue to endow the university in everything that it does with your sense of honor, your sense of duty, your sense of responsibility. So congratulations to all of you. This is your day. And with the congratulations, I also want to apologize. I wish I had control over the weather, but I don't. Father Shea has more control over the weather than I do, and he, this afternoon, delivered a magnificent prayer. But even he couldn't deal with the pandemic and everything that is associated with it. So I apologize that because of the pandemic, you're not having the kind of college graduation that you dreamed of. But come back in the fall. In the fall, we hope to bring you all back together again so that we can appropriately celebrate everything that you've done for yourselves, for your families, and for the university and the world. So there's a little bit of an apology. The third is a little bit of a challenge, and it's this. I don't know if you realize this, but of all the people in the university, with the exception of the Jesuits, you have a closer relationship with and a point of identification with St. Ignatius Loyola than anybody else on campus. What do I mean? Well, St. Ignatius, who is known in history as the founder of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, was, before he became a man of great prayer, he was a soldier, and he was wounded in the Battle of Pamplona. And it was only after that wound that he suffered that he had a conversion experience and decided to give himself to the service of the Lord, to do great things for God and great things for the human family. You are much like Ignatius. You were in service, and having completed that service, you went back to school, and it wasn't difficult. He went back at the age of 30. He really had to catch up, and he had to balance things. He had to beg to make his way as a student. You are his spiritual sisters and brothers. You have had the same experience that he had. First soldiers, and now students, and out into the world to do great things. That's where the challenge comes in that I want to place before you. You have done great things already in your lives. You've enriched Fordham beyond measure with your presence here, your steadiness of purpose, your clear idea of what it is to be an educated person. You came hungry for an education. So you've already enriched us, but I want you to enrich the world by being what you've already been, but even more so. That is to say, I want you to be always recognized as leaders with a difference. I want you to be recognized as men and women of character. And you are. You're men and women of character. I want you to be recognized as men and women of competence, conscience, people with a very strong moral compass. Third, compassion. And finally, I want you to be men and women who are known for their commitment to the cause of the human family. We here at Fordham know that you're that already. I want you to grow in those gifts that you already have. I want you to continue to make a difference, to inspire people. I want you to be leaders who everyone will seek out because your wisdom figures, because of your experience. I want you to bring into the world your gifts. Character is not enough. There are not enough men and women of character in the world right now. I want you to be the ones who make the difference by being men and women of character. Competence, you're smart, hardworking, you've achieved a lot. Conscience, continue to be guided by a strong moral compass. Don't be afraid. As Matt said, build bridges, be compassionate, build communities that are conspicuous not for consumption, but conspicuous for their compassion. And finally, be always known as men and women with a deep commitment to the cause of the human family. Build up the human family. Build up your own families. Be signs of hope, bringers of hope to a world that desperately needs you. So back to the important matter of the day. Congratulations. Welcome to the Fordham alumni family. I look forward to seeing you often here at Fordham and on the road. And when I do see you, I want you to come up and tell me how you're doing, what you're doing, and how you are changing the world with your character, competence, conscience, compassion, and commitment. Congratulations to the visionary class, the class of 2020.
Thank you. It is my great pleasure to welcome Jared Lyon, President and CEO of Student Veterans of America. For almost 12 years, SVA has been the leading advocate for veterans, service members, and families in higher education. Jared has been at the helm of SVA and has led the fight for the GI Bill benefits, including the Forever GI Bill that most of us at Fordham have used to attend Fordham. SVA supports 1,500 chapters around the country and more than 750,000 veterans, student veterans. Student Veterans of America at Fordham chapter supports more than 500 military-connected students. And in large part, we have Jared to thanks for that. He's a good friend. He's a new father. I'm happy to welcome Jared Lyon.
Thank you, Matt. And thank you for those inspiring words to Father McShane. It's often, I find myself telling the story of St. Ignatius as an example of one of my favorite student veterans. And of course, on your beautiful campus at Fordham, though we're not able to visit it right now, is an amazing statue that I still hold very dear of St. Ignatius. So good afternoon to all of you, our noble graduating student veterans. I am truly honored to be with you virtually today at Fordham, and it's my true pleasure to speak with you. I hope that this ceremony reflects the incredible pride that we at SVA's national headquarters here in Washington, D.C. share with you today in recognizing your accomplishment on your graduation. As student veterans, you have each put service above self and above the traditional pathways to pursue your educational goals. You are indeed, in my opinion, the best of a generation. What may come as a surprise is to know that nearly 2/3 of student veterans are just like myself, a first-generation college graduate. And for all of us, this is an honor that has likely been decades in the making. While our families may not be able to celebrate this recognition with us face-to-face today, you should know that they too are so very proud of you. When you came home from your military service, you were welcomed to Fordham, likely using your GI Bill to pursue your education. While some at school might not have known what to expect from you initially, your work over the past several years has left a new impression on faculty, staff, and your fellow students, I'm sure. In the end, you showed them that student veterans are rightfully considered by many to be among the most successful students in all of higher education today. Despite the success that is on display today, it wasn't always easy. For many of us, there was incredible challenges, such as juggling the responsibilities for school, work, and your family all at the same time. Perhaps it was tough to relate to the traditional student next to you in a class, or to pull an all-nighter at home or even in the library, or perhaps you struggled to find that sense of community that you had during your military service. Yet, you pushed through, you made connections, you worked hard, and you persevered. Taking a step back, it's important that we reflect on our history, and some of the things that influenced this moment today, in many ways, might not be so obvious. For example, in the 1930s, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt transformed America into the modern nation that we know today. His administration launched massive programs and agencies such as Social Security, the SEC, and more. And then in 1944, President Roosevelt signed into law a program called the Servicemen's Readjustment Act, better known at the time as the GI Bill of Rights. But did you know that this GI Bill idea almost never made it out of Congress? In fact, there were some who said that this new program would be, and I quote, the ruin of the veterans of World War II as they returned home to the United States after the guns of Europe and the Pacific fell silent. And then, just before the end of the war, the president of Harvard famously penned, "We may find the least capable among the war generation instead of the most capable, flooding the facilities for advanced education in the United States." And at the same time, the president of the University of Chicago, a World War I veteran himself, argued colleges and universities will find themselves converted into educational hobo jungles. But student veterans proved their value back then, and today you are doing so. By 1947, just a few years after the original opposition, there were many retractions. For example, Benjamin Fine of the New York Times wrote that the GIs are hogging the honor rolls and the dean's lists. Student veterans are walking away with the top marks in all of their courses. Far from being an educational problem, the veteran has become an asset to higher education. Even the president of Harvard eventually stated, for seriousness, perceptiveness, steadiness, and all other undergraduate virtues, the student veterans of World War II were the best in Harvard's history. So you see, the idea that veterans don't belong in higher education is not a new, albeit false, critique. And even though our sisters and brothers in arms from the greatest generation proved the doubters wrong, today, in 2020, we have forgotten the lessons from the past. From the founding of our nation to present day, it had always been an educated generation of veterans who lead to solve complex problems of the day. In this generation of veterans, each and every one of you will rise to the occasion. At college campuses across the country, student veterans of the post 9/11 era have quickly demonstrated their presence and participation in higher education, which has made the experience better for everyone around them. Earlier, I used the term the best of a generation. Well, in our nation's history, educated veterans have always been the key to solving whatever problems our nation faces, with no exceptions. In 1945, do you know what we called the generation that won World War II? We called them members of that generation born between 1910 to 1927, the GI generation. The initials GI can stand for two things: general issue and government issue. This generation's life cycle stood squarely for both, as noted in the book Generations. Some even called them the swing generation because of their love of jazz music. It has been many years later, in 1998, when Tom Brokaw coined the term the greatest generation, and it gave that generation a new name. Millennials often get a bad rap. Well, I was born in 1982, so that makes me a millennial, along with anyone born between the years of 1980 and 1994. But think about this for a minute. The longest period of sustained combat in our nation's history, from the events of September 11th, 2001 to the present day, has been fought mostly by millennials. The youngest millennial today is 26 years old, and the oldest among us is 40. Nearly 86% of the student veterans graduating this month are actually millennials. But not all millennials volunteered to serve their country during a time of war. Many of you did, and for that, and by this graduating this month, you have proven that ours is a generation capable of anything. We wax poetic about the greatest generation, but I feel that when we do so, we only look backward. Will we, all of us here today, wait 53 years into the end of our wars to know what our generation contributed? No, that is not why you, today's student veterans, are the best among your generation. You're the best because you were the ones who chose to serve. That is why it's my belief, whether you were drafted or volunteered, whether you deployed or defended the home front, whether you saw combat or not, and whether you are 17 or 112 years old, if you served, we call you the best of a generation. This is true for any era, any way you look at it. This is the legacy that each of you graduating today carry. Congratulations to my fellow student veterans. I look forward to staying in touch with you and seeing what you accomplish next. Our nation is counting on each and every one of you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Before we recognize all of our graduates, I want to recognize the outstanding leaders of the Student Veterans of America at Fordham. Julia Warner has served in the Fordham Veterans Association, now called the Student Veterans of America at Fordham, since 2017. She was the president of the FVA and oversaw the transition to what is now the SVAF. Julia was a catalyst to greater inclusion for veterans on campus. She helped build bridges that allowed veterans to fully participate in clubs and activities, a legacy that will last a long time. She handed over the reins to Matthias Ayala earlier this semester. I can't thank her enough for her dedication to the veterans community at Fordham. Nicole Gagliano was the vice president at the Lincoln Center campus for the FVA and SVAF. Her leadership helped greatly in a time of transition. She has built bridges that have brought greater support to our veterans community, from resume writing workshops to career panels. She's landed a job at NBC Universal, and she continues to build bridges for others to follow. Melanie Gonzalez has worn many hats, but perhaps none more valuable than the outreach she recently did, working from the virtual vet center, volunteering to call student veterans and reach out to them during this time. Melanie has landed a coveted internship as a writer on the TV show Blue Bloods. Thank you, Melanie, for your dedication to the veterans community. These ladies exemplify the courageous leadership of our female veterans. They have left the SVAF better than they found it. Several of our graduates have worked as VA work-study students in support of the greater community. The peer-to-peer, vet-to-vet network is strong at Fordham and getting stronger. They support the full life cycle for transition to admissions, to academics, career support, and much more. They are Peter Watkins, Margarita Villavaso, a past vice president of the FVA, Paul Gargiulo, Cam Adore, Chase Cowley, Melanie Gonzalez, William Magnani, Veronica Milliman, Astini Montiel, John Wesley, Nicole Gagliano. I want to thank all of them because we couldn't provide the exceptional service and support without their help. I want to thank Mark Valera, retired Navy commander and vice president of administration at Fordham University. I've worked for Mark for a year now, and the Veterans Initiative has grown significantly under his leadership. We have a new vet center at 140 West 62nd Street with a lounge, a study area, and an SVA operations center. With his leadership, we hired Stephen Hellman as the full-time assistant director of military and veteran services. It's truly great to have Stephen on board, who has a passion for serving our military and veteran community. Thank you, Mark. Fordham had 2 PROVE interns in our new vet center. The PROVE program that is run out of the Silberman School of Social Work is a program that has supported the CUNY Veterans Network for about 10 years. Fordham is the first school outside of the CUNY system to participate in the PROVE program. I want to thank Tamar, who is a military spouse, and Eitan, who is drawn to military service, for supporting our military community at Fordham. They have been conducting outreach on behalf of the Office of Military and Veteran Service. I'm grateful for their dedication to our veteran community. They have been trailblazers, and I'm going to miss them as they move on in their academic and professional careers. We have so many supporters, too many to name here, but from Edge for Vets, run by Tom Murphy, to the 4-block transition leadership class that we offer for 1 credit by Eric Stetson and Tom Dickman, to Lily Lee, who selflessly dedicates her personal time to give resume writing workshops, both individually and privately for our student veterans. We have hosted many career panels from Microsoft to MassMutual and several others too numerous to name here. We want to thank the staff and faculty and the deans who have guided our student veterans and dependents through their academic journey. We want to thank our custodial staff, the facilities, our security staff, and all those who look out for us. I also want to give a special thanks to William Colonna, Director of Government Relations and Federal and Urban Affairs, and Leslie Messiah Arthur, Associate Vice President and Special Assistant to the President for Government Relations. They worked to support legislation that allowed student veterans and dependents to keep their full benefits during this pandemic. Without their support, our Yellow Ribbon students' benefits may have been impacted significantly. Thank you so much. Again, I want to thank the dedicated team of student veterans who have been working closely with the Office of Military and Veteran Support to provide exceptional support, fun, activities, and build bridges for our returning veterans and service members. Now, class of 2020, we celebrate your success today. It is our tradition to give you a yellow ribbon medallion to be worn with your cap and gown on graduation. It is also our tradition to ring the victory bell at the beginning of your academic career. At the end, we let you ring the bell at graduation. We will invite you back to participate in this physical ceremony at a later date. The victory bell is special because it's connected to the military legacy at Fordham University. The bell was given by Admiral Nimitz in 1944 and rang by President Truman in 1946. Now you leave your mark on this illustrious military legacy. We will now ring the bell for you. You may not be able to hear the bell ring, but when you're back with us, you will be able to ring the bell yourself. On our medallion, you'll see the seal of Fordham University with 6 stars around it. The 6th Medal of Honor, recognizing the 6th Medal of Honor recipients at Fordham University. On the back is St. Ignatius, Fordham's student veteran #1, dropping his sword and shield and reaching for a higher calling. As you take up your higher calling, I wish that you will always have fond memories of Fordham University. Now that you are a complete part of the Fordham community, we will extend a bridge to you to return as alumnus and alumna for Fordham. In Latin, it says, "Go and set the world on fire." Set it on fire with your service, with your example, and your compassion for others. Congratulations, class of 2020. I'll now read the names and the schools and the degrees. Mark Carlo, United States Marine Corps, BA Political Science. Stephen DiFiero, Army, BA International Studies. Stephen is also a Fulbright scholar who is going to Tajikistan. Congratulations, Stephen. Army Second Lieutenant Vadim Kirimov, a recently commissioned Second Lieutenant, Army ROTC, BA Economics. Those were the graduates of Fordham College, Lincoln Center. Now for the graduates of Fordham College at Rose Hill. Amber Figueroa, Army, BS in History. Paul Gargiulo, Coast Guard veteran, BA International Studies and History. He's also a dependent and a Coast Guard reservist. Julia Warner, United States Marine Corps, a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. School of Professional and Continuing Studies, Cam Adore, Navy, BA in Visual Arts. Army Second Lieutenant Carlos Arribas, Army ROTC, Bachelor of Science, Computer Science, and Visual Arts. Army Sergeant First Class Yun Chen, BA Organizational Leadership. Donald Cochran, United States Marine Corps, BA Computer Science. Chase Cowley, United States Marine Corps, Bachelor of Science, Information Technology and Systems. Roberto Crispo, Army, BA Visual Arts. Alec Gillis, Army, Bachelor of Arts in Communications. Melanie Gonzalez, Marine Corps, a BS in English. Susan Jimenez, Army, BA in Visual Arts. William Magnani, Marine Corps, BA in Economics. Veronica Miniman, Navy, a BA in Communications, Film and Television. Asani Montiel, Marine Corps, Political Science with a minor in Peace and Justice Studies. Tori Asha Nice, Army, BS in Social Work. William O'Brien, Army, BS in Organizational Leadership. He's also a retired Master Sergeant, Army Master Sergeant. Evan Simpson, Air Force, BA in Political Science. Margarita Villavaso, Navy, BA Economics. Peter Watkins, Marine Corps, Communications and Organizational Leadership, magna cum laude. John Wesley, Air Force, BA Organizational Leadership. The Gabelli School of Business, undergraduate. Alana Higa, Air Force dependent, a BS in Global Business, concentration in International Finance and Business Economics. Gabelli School of Business, graduate program. Anthony Cantu, Marine Corps, MBA. Stephen Dombrowski Ferguson, Navy, MBA. Jay Finn, Army, MBA in Management Information Systems. Nicole Gagliano, Army, MBA. Christy McGorman, Marine Corps, Executive MBA. And Veronica Park, Army, Master of Science in Management. Now our graduates, Graduate School of Arts and Science. Renzo Almanzar, Army, an MS in Cybersecurity. Brent Curcio, Navy, MS in Cybersecurity. Francisco Poliano, Air Force, MS in Cybersecurity. Salou Saeed, Army, MS Cybersecurity. Sheldon Spencer, Air Force, MS Cybersecurity. Oyson Willis, Marine Corps, MS in Cybersecurity. Graduate School of Social Service. Renee Jordania Alexander, Air Force, Master of Social Work. Shanika Ashman, Army, Master of Social Work. Eric Bruce, Army, Master of Social Work. Maria Savalos, Army, Master of Social Work. Amari Espinal, Army, Master of Social Work. Dan Gorman, Army, Master of Social Work. Ashmana McKenzie, Army, Master of Social Work. Robin Mantulo, Coast Guard, Master of Social Work. Jennifer Ormiston, Army, Master of Social Work. Nikita Robinson, Navy, Master of Social Work. Sierra Suros, Army, Master of Social Work. Janet Woodley, Marine Corps, Masters of Social Work. That is the graduating class of 2020. Let's congratulate them all.
Are there people? Oh no, yeah. Congratulations, everyone. Oh my God. The kids are having a party.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody.
All right, thank you, everyone. That concludes today's ceremony. Again, we want to build a bridge as alumni to welcome you back. We'll get you back and we'll get you to ring the bell and take the full participation of this graduation ceremony. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. Be well, stay safe. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Why did you put on a shirt?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Good luck.
Bye, everybody.
Good
luck, everybody.
Bye, McShane.
I can't see. Oh my God, that was so cute.